All right, that should be working now. Good morning to all of you. Thank you for stopping by today. I'm glad to be back in the live stream. Today's cichlids and coffee. Oh yeah, hope you're having your favorite cup of beverage wherever you might be in the world. And let's see who we have here. Whip's World in the house. Hey Whip, first on the chat, one of my wonderful moderators. Big shout out to my moderators for helping to keep the chat family friendly. You got Whip in the house. Hey Paul, ex-colleague Kev, Wally's freshwater aquatics. Hey Warren, how are you? Let me see if I can get my mouth to work this morning. You're going to have to drive to work now? Oh, okay. Oh, let me see here. We got some conversations going. My fish tanks, aquatics in the house. Hey, Michael. Michael's here. Good morning to you. Proverbs in the house. Mike Hunt in the house. How are you, Mike? Michael Pulio? Hope I'm pronouncing that right. Pulio. Wet Sleeves Aquatics. Love that name. Greetings to you. Thinking about getting a cheap canister on eBay. Mike Hunt is thinking about getting a cheap canister on eBay. You know, there's some, thank you for that AV check, ex-colleague Kev. That helps a lot. I can comment on that. I've gone through a few cheap canisters, but I will say that I have had a lot of luck with what some would call a cheap canister. A Sun, both the 302s, 302, I was back in California, 302B and also 704Bs are just workhorses. They just run forever. Now, that being said, you do have to take care of them. You do have to take care. You have to set them up right. And I mean, if you watched any of my canister, they're all watching the camera. That's funny. If you've watched any of my canister filter videos, I have a whole regimen on how I set up my canisters. First, you've got to know the water flow within the can, right? And then set it up from a coarse to a finer, sponge PPI. You got to go from coarse to fine, and you can certainly use a high end media, right? Your Matrix, your Biohome, your Marine Pures. I usually would put those last. And if I was going to use chemical filtration, that would be the last thing the water touches before going back to the tank. By chemical, I would include activated, your activated charcoals, your Purigens, ChemiPures, things like that. I put those last, and I would have it inside of a Rubbermaid canister because if they do leak, they leak a lot just because of the way they're positioned. Usually underneath the aquarium, right? So they're going to siphon a lot of water if they do start to leak. I haven't had leak issues really, maybe one or two over the years that I was able to correct by tightening up some of the hoses and attachments. But I keep mine in a Rubbermaid just in case, and I do have a what for me has worked is called a watchdog water alarm, which is just a little simple electrode that gets dropped in the bottom of the Rubbermaid, and if you do get a leak, it sounds an alarm, and that actually has did save my bacon once. So if you set them up correctly, now probably the best tip I could give you also on getting a quiet, efficient canister is not to overstack the baskets. People put too much in the baskets of their canister filters. And as a result, the baskets don't nest. They don't nest correctly, one on top of the other. They might sit a little off, and that'll create a rattle when it, a hum, a buzz, a rattle, and it'll drive you crazy. And until you remove some of the media, you're not going to be able to figure out what the heck is going on. So just a couple tips. And if you want to run your canisters for months and months and months, like I do, put a pre-filter on the intake. You can cut a piece of sponge. If you have a block of sponge, just cut it and slip it over, or you can buy them from places like Aquarium Co-op. You can pick up those sponge, pre-made sponges that slip over the down, the intake tube, and that'll do the work. That'll do the job too. So there you go. So a few comments on canister filters, which I've been using for a long time. Michael Evans in the house, and we also have AJ and Darren Lockhart. Hello, Darren. M&C, and okay, let's see, more people coming on. Come on board. Just cleaned my FX6 today. Pretty easy, pretty clean. Yeah, FX6s are pretty easy to get to maintain. They are, if you drain them first, and it really helps because they're so heavy. There's a lot of water, right? It's like a five-gallon bucket basically, but if you know how to drain them, and they're a lot easier to work with. Johnny No Shoes? Who's Johnny No Shoes? There's a Johnny No Shoes in here? Sounds like an old baseball player. Johnny No Shoes. Raisin Fishes in the house. Good morning to you. We're going to be giving away some stuff. And what I'm going to do is, like I did before, I'm going to write a number on a Post-it. I'm just going to write a number between a certain range, and then I'm going to ask you to guess. And then the winner is going to get some very cool stuff from my friends from Darius and my friends over at NorthFin up in Canada. Darius has been very, very good to this channel. And while I'm on the topic, let's go ahead and do a couple of very quick shout outs. First of all, I want to do a shout out to my Garage Gang. These are the Garage Gang members that support the channel on a monthly basis by becoming members, by becoming Patreon supporters. Information is under the video in the description. I also have a short video on it. But as I like to say, it helps out in more ways than you know, even though it starts for as little as $3 a month. Some of you with asterisks next to your name there do a lot more than that, and that is appreciated. But it does start for as little as $3 a month. And I thank all of you who are Patreon supporters. Really, really helps out. And also, if you'd like to support the channel, I have a very simple way to do it. If you use this link, to get to Amazon, and who doesn't shop at Amazon? Amazon.com/shop/ben.o.cichlid. If you use that link to get to Amazon, anything you buy on Amazon, whether it's from my store or anywhere else, will give a credit to the channel. Very easy peasy. Doesn't change your cost at all, and is a great way to, without really putting any money out of your pocket directly, to support what's going on here. On the topic of support, a big shout out to my friend Josh over at Cunningham Tropicals. Great selection of fish and fish foods. I have a couple foods that my fish have become addicted to, and of course I picked up my discus that you see over my shoulder here. Those beautiful discus were from Josh at Cunningham Tropicals. Use ben.o.15 for 15% off on everything, on fish, on dry goods, and everything. That doesn't apply to shipping. Shipping costs are extra, of course, but check him out. Cunningham Tropicals, a friend of the channel for sure. Now, if you'd like to pick up some swag like the t-shirt I'm wearing, And also I'm working on a discus coffee mug. I don't quite have it down yet, but it's almost there. But check out my Teespring store. Let me see if I can get that Teespring store. There's a sample mug, my bobblehead. There's a whole bunch of mugs. I don't know, 20, 30 mugs. But I'm going to add a discus mug. I'm still designing it. I have kind of a rough draft there now. But check out the Teespring store for some channel swag. Just another way to support the channel. I try to keep the prices reasonable. I think if you use the code LIVESTREAM, you will get items discounted. So there you go. All right. Starting now, I think what we'll do is we'll do a little bit of I'd say maybe every 15 minutes or so, 10 or 15 minutes, we'll go ahead and give away stuff. And let's go ahead and make it official here and start. Let's do the official start like we normally do. All right. We are official. So let's go ahead and let's go ahead and do our first little giveaway. Hold on. I'm going to write a number down. Now, as you know, unfortunately, my moderators can't participate in this because it just wouldn't be fair. Hey, Mike. Thanks for that super chat, my friend. Very appreciated. Super chats today will be going towards shipping. Anybody who's ever received anything from me knows that postage and shipping have become crazy. All right, I have written a number down on a Post-it. And I want you folks in the chat to guess a number. And this will be for a T. And you should probably wait for your size. But this one is a small. I have a small NorthFin T. And this NorthFin T will get sent out along with some NorthFin food. So if you win this small NorthFin T, let me know what kind of fish that you have. And some people are already guessing, and you're wasting your time because I'm going to use different ranges. All right, so start your guess with the letter S so that we know it's for a small T. And by the way, I do see that there's a question with that super chat. I will get back to that super chat, Mike. And we will address that. All right, so put the letter S for small T, for the small T-shirt, and a number between 20 and 40. Go. A number between 20 and 40, starting with the letter S, so that we know it's a small T-shirt that you are bidding on. Between 20 and 40. S and your guess. Okay, we have a winner. We have a winner, chicken dinner. Darren Lockhart, S26. S26, Darren Lockhart. That was the first 26, right? Let me double check here. S26. All right, Darren. Darren, send me your type of fish. Give me your full. Sometimes people don't use their real name on YouTube. I've run into that a few times and had a few food samples sent back to me. Give me your full name, full mailing address, and S26. Congratulations. And send it to ben.o.cichlid. ben.o.cichlid at gmail.com. All right, another 10 or 15 minutes. We'll go ahead and do another one. So let's talk a little bit about filtration and dialing it in. And what I want to do is I want to hear from you, your comments on the size of tank that you have and the kind of filtration on your tank. And let's talk about the different setups that you have going on. And while we do that, let's take a look here at what Mike Hunt. Thank you, Dan. I always preach intake filters. Just had my 75-gallon community tank crash. Oh. Okay. Now, were you answering somebody else named Dan, or did you mean Ben and said Dan? Let me see. Just had my 75-gallon community tank crash. Lost 6. If a canister will help. Well, crashes, Mike, aquarium crashes can be for so many reasons that to tell you that a canister, I will say that having an aquarium that you mess less with is going to be less likely to crash, but there's so many moving parts. Now, a canister, the big plus of a canister, just like the big plus of a sump, is that you can have a tremendous amount of actual beneficial bacteria housing material. Now, you know that I use a deep substrate, right? I've got like 5-6 inches here, going down to maybe 3 or 4 in some parts, but a massive amount, hundreds of pounds of substrate here, sand, river pebbles, right? I got a lot of stuff going on. That is the stable home of my beneficial bacteria. So I would say go with in a 75, you could very easily go with a 4-inch to 6-inch. I'd say 4-inch maybe, only because you don't want to be a little bit overwhelmed by. You can also taper it so it eases upward as it goes to the back, so it doesn't take up so much of the front panel. But go with a deep substrate and a canister with a lot of sponges. I love the sponges, right? But you can also put a lot of Biohome, a lot of Matrix, right? A lot of Marine Pure, whatever you're using, and things that you just leave alone. Now, other factors. Did you go a long time between water changes? Because if you did, you might have had a pH shift within the tank, and then when you added water from the tap, and if you added that water too quickly, you might have created a rapid pH shift, which is hard for fish to take. Maybe maybe the temperature wasn't matched right. Maybe you didn't condition at the right dosage. Maybe somebody turned on the dishwasher while you were filling the tank, and it changed the temperature of the water that you're putting in a water change. So many moving parts, right, that can create a crash. Definitely having a mature, older, stable aquarium with a deep substrate, that'll make a big difference. just to ask my friend Oscar. So, but I would not say unequivocally yes to a canister would help prevent tank crashes. I don't think that would be the case because there's too many other moving parts. Whip, thanks for confirming the S26 winner. Hey, another super chat. Thank you, my friends. I appreciate that, Michelle. The Pouliot, that looks like a French name. Pouliot looks French, but thank you so much for that super chat. I appreciate it. And like I said, all super chats will be going towards towards postage. All right. So Ronald says he uses HOBs, canisters, and sponge filters. Are those all on one tank? I'm curious. This is what I'm curious about. I'm curious about the size of the tank, how you're filtering it, and how stocked it is. The size of your tank, how you're filtering it, and how stocked is it. Those would all play a role. I mean, you have other things too, like how much you feed, how often you feed. That would play a role in what's going on, right? But definitely the size of your tank, how you're filtering it, how you're stocking it, and we'll take up some of these comments in the conversation. You guys ready for another NorthFin t-shirt and food? All right, here we go. Hold on. I've written the number on the Post-it. Our next t-shirt is a large. And all of these t-shirts come with the official ben.o.cichlid approval sticker from NorthFin. Something Darius did. All right, so start your guess with the letter L, and the range is going to be between 80 and 100. Between 80 and 100, starting with the letter L. Go. So much fun. Whoop, 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 whoop. How is this even possible? Jenny B? How did you do that? L97. First guest that showed up. That's never happened. Jenny B, send me an email at ben.o.cichlid@gmail.com. Tell me the kind of fish you have. I'm going to send you your t-shirt. Be sure to say L97 in the email and tell me the kind of fish that you have. Wow. That's never happened before. Were you looking over my shoulder? Are you clairvoyant? Or have ESP or one of those things? Okay. Ronald says he overfilters all of his tanks. That's amazing. That's never happened before. First guess. All right, let's go back up to your comments and talk about some of the filters. Then we'll give away another t-shirt in a little bit here. Wow, what a wild series of unfortunate events here for Mike. Bottom feeders spawned. The yo-yo loaches ate all the fry, died from that. Their death made the nitrogen. All right. Wild. Wild if that was really the case. Yeah, I mean, dead matter, whether it's plants or fish, things of that nature will produce ammonia. I suspect, Mike, that, I mean, fish can tolerate a tremendous amount of nitrogen, of nitrate. It was probably the nitrite and the ammonia that killed them off. And of course, by the time they get killed off, you notice it, you start testing the water, it's all sort of converted back over, through the cycle back into a high level of nitrates. But it was the ammonia nitrite that was probably the thing that poisoned them. All right. Vernon Miles has a 65-gallon with the 307 fluval and sponge. 20 with a hang-on back with a sponge. And a 10 with a sponge and a 120 with a canister and a hang-on back. Those are all great combinations, I think. I mean, each size has a, you have this sort of sweet spot. Like anything below 20, you can probably just put one or two, depending on how heavy you're stocking it, right? With sponges, small sponge, medium sponge, anything below 20 gallons. Sponge filter, air pump, very easy, very, very easy. You're not going to get a lot of water movement. You do have those new lifters that the Aquarium Co-op is offering that creates a lot of surface movement, which is good. But yeah, that's sponges on that smaller size tank. As you start to get up into that 40-gallon, I would say maybe up to about 50, 55, you start to get into a range where a hang-on back might be a good option. You can still go with a larger sponge filter if you don't mind the look of it. And again, depending on the stocking, so you've got that sweet spot there where one or two hang-on backs, depending on the stocking, maybe a sponge. As I start to get into the larger sizes, the 55, the show tanks, I really don't like a sponge in the tank. That's just my taste. Certainly, if you're breeding, someone like Josh is going to have giant air compressors and sponges in all the tanks. I mean, there's automatic water changes. I mean, there's different setups, right? Different circumstances. Now you start to get up over that size. You start to get up into the 75 plus. And I'm thinking hang-on backs are great if you don't mind having to have the clearance from the wall. If you want your tank pressed more closely to the wall, you may go with some powerful internal filters, right? Like maybe your Cichlid Shark Series, maybe your Expert-Matic. I mean, some of these are turnover. They filter a lot of water through their sponges. You can also, at that size, 75-ish to 90, 60 to 90, start flirting a little bit with the idea of a canister. Canisters are, when set up correctly, are quiet. They're out of the way. They're out of sight. All you have is an intake and an output, and the output usually is so high up you can't see it. You can see the intake in here for that 704B, but the output is way up in the top corner. You really can't even see it. This tank, a 210 gallon, has a a sump with a C-shaped pump and a Sunsun 704B. The 300-gallon African cichlid tank has a sump with two pumps, two C-shaped 5.0s, and a Fluval FX6. The 90-gallon has two Marineland Emperor 400s on it and a UV sterilizer. So as you start to get up into the larger sizes and your tanks become more and more show tanks, show pieces, right? You probably want less inside the tank. And this is where canisters and sumps really shine, because you can put your heaters, right? All your media, thermometers, whatever, down in the sump and have nothing really going on inside the aquarium. So let's see here. Jenny B, one of our winners, has a 75-gallon planted Oranda goldfish. Okay. Oranda goldfish are beautiful. They're pretty fish. Deep substrate and FX2. Wow. Now, see, you need that. 3 large sponge filters. You've got a lot of filtration for a 75, but goldfish are little pigs. We all know that. Goldfish are pigs. And so that combination makes sense. Now, me, for aesthetic purposes. Now, I say this with a big grain of salt, because whatever's working for you, and if it's working and you got a clean tank and healthy fish, be very reluctant to change anything. But I'd probably add a canister with the output near the top, so I'm not blowing those fish around. And I'd probably get rid of the sponges, just for aesthetics, just from the viewpoint of aesthetics. Of course, some people hide their sponges, but if you hide them too well, you defeat the purpose of the sponge. Things can't get to it because it's blocked by plants or whatever, rocks. And so that would be just my take on it. Everybody's taste is different, of course. Tyler has a 125 with 6 severums. Wow, what kind of severums there, my friend? Do you have red shoulders? Do you have the red spotted gold? I mean, severums are, I think they're beautiful fish. You have an FX6 on there. And another 125 with an Oscar, a Texas, and 3 silver dollars. FX6, 220 longs. Multis, Corys, blue rams. Wow. Hatchet fish. AC50s on both. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, FX6s, in the past, if you follow my channel for a long time, you know that for a while there I had kind of a love-hate relationship with FX6s because of certain valves and things that would fail on me, and then they were very hard to get a hold of or very expensive to replace. But at the end of the day, I mean, the FX6 is really the sort of king of canisters. It's just a workhorse. Now, I'm hearing, I haven't tried out personally, but I'm hearing good things about Oasis. Eheim used to be the reigning king of all things canister filter. And if you mentioned any canister filter and there was an Eheim fan, they would immediately jump in and jump all over you and assert how unless you had an Eheim, you were really just an idiot. But over the years things have changed, and I've had a lot of luck with Sun, but Away seems to be making a real strong run. But at the end of the day, the Fluval, the Hagen Fluval FX6 seems to be the king of, and it does. You might complain that it doesn't have as much media space as it could with that very large coarse outside filter system on every basket. But you know those middle baskets can hold a lot if you add it all up. Yeah, they can hold a lot. And of course, for people like myself who use sponges as a primary form of filtration, both in my sumps and my canisters, it is adequate for me. Now, some of you out there with your bigger tanks will look at something like a sump and start to feel a little bit intimidated. I would refer you to the last maybe 10 or 15 videos in my sump filtration playlist. If they're set up correctly, if the water volume is set up correctly, it really becomes almost impossible to overflow or flood, which is the main fear that people have with sumps. I can shut off my sump pumps and the water level will not overflow the sump. You just learn how much water to use and you run your sump at the right water level so that when you turn off the pumps in the event, let's say, of a power failure or maintenance, the sump will fill up almost to the rim, but will not overflow. And that's like the right amount. Once you get what that sweet spot is, you're good. All right, I can tell some of you are waiting for more t-shirts. Okay, let's see here. I'm going to write a number down and I'll post it. And let's see what size we have. Extra large t-shirt. And keep in mind, you're going to be getting some NorthFin food with every t-shirt. So be sure to tell me in your email where you send me your full name and mailing address. Be sure to tell me the kind of fish you have, and I'll try to match you up. If I can't match you up at all with NorthFin, which is almost impossible, I've got so much good stuff, including some of his award-winning Bug Pro. So it's going to be impossible not to really match up everybody, but if you do have something unusual, I also have some Sarah food I can give you. But here's a very pretty, a very nice NorthFin extra large. So go ahead and start your answers with XL. And the range is between 30 and 65. 30 and 65 is the range. Start your answer with XL. Go. This is moving almost too fast for me to catch up here. Hold on. Ooh, somebody was real close. Oh, Z-Zip. Z-Zip, don't you win like every single time? Moderators verify that this was the first XL55. But we have a winner, Z-Zip, XL55. ZZip, send me your full name, mailing address to ben.o.cichlid@gmail.com. And be sure to put XL55 and remind me of the kind of fish you have. And I will go ahead and get this t-shirt out to you. Very, very cool. I've got some more stuff to give away. We'll go ahead and talk some more about filters, then we'll get back into it. Back into giving some more stuff. Let's see, Dan. Yeah, Zach, Zach is commenting on Eheim, and yeah, I'll get comments sometimes that will say that, my Eheim's been running for 25 years, 30 years, still running strong, still quiet. Kind of amazing when you think about it, how this product that runs 24/7 can still do that. Zach has a FX4 and a 307 on a 180. Now, what's the stocking on there, Zach? Because somebody might look at that and go, wow, that seems like a little bit light for a 180. But let's say you have let's say you have community fish, it's planted, you have a good cleanup crew, right? Maybe a couple plecos, some autos, maybe a good group of cories. Maybe a Synodonus, a few Synodonus. Yeah, that could work. A 180, the 180 I had in California, I had a sump and a canister. I had a pretty good size 2-section sump. They don't even make them anymore. It was 2 sections connected by bulkheads and hose. And it was made for a saltwater aquarium, but it was an aquarium I picked up on Craigslist, a beautiful acrylic with the sump and pumps, lids and lights, canopy, and stand, custom-made canopy and stand. Probably the best looking stand I've ever owned, and the whole thing was $400 out the door. Craigslist, somebody that was just changing things up, but. Yeah, now see, if I had that, I'd probably have 2 FX6s on it, or an FX6 and a sump. But it's working for you. I'd be curious how stocked that aquarium is. M&C Aquatics has been running under gravel filters for 40 years. Wow. Now you see, you have what people missed with under gravel filters, the concept that was missed with under gravel filters, is that the gravel was filter media in that setup. The gravel was housing beneficial bacteria. It was especially in some planted situations. I mean, it really was kind of a smart idea to pull stuff down and serve up nutrients to plants. I mean, it's just but some folks would complain about having to get under there and remove the mess with the substrate to clean it and clean it, and it was a big, and so they just went into disuse. But the truth is that it's a very smart system. Well, MiniMac is admitting to having some memory issues. Who runs several tanks and hasn't forgotten to plug something in? I once forgot to plug in an FX6 for about 4 days. Tank started to get a little cloudy. Yeah. Nobody died. And somehow the beneficial bacteria, I think it just starts cannibalizing. It just starts eating itself. I mean, each other. And somehow I still ended up with okay, I didn't have a nitrate spike. But wow. But yeah, I get it. And we come up with systems that very often are based on mistakes or problems that we've had, right? That old saying about closing the barn door after the horse is gone. A lot of things we do in the hobby are in an effort to avoid or not do again something that we did before. And so reminders, alarms, things of that nature, things in plain sight, plugins, apps that plug and unplug, that run and stop things for us automatically. I mean, yeah, I get it. AJ, I haven't heard of a Hypermax 4500. Absolute best canister filter on the market. Hypermax 4500. Haven't seen one or heard of it. Send me a link to ben.o.cichlid. I'd love to see one. ben.o.cichlid at gmail. A Big Rich is running one. The Hypermax. I'll tell you, Big Rich has a lot going on. A lot of filtration. I've toured his place twice. Really enjoyed it. Robbie, yeah, I'm doing I'm doing a guest drawing. I guess, I don't know, what would you call it? A drawing? A guess that number every 10 or 15 minutes. So yeah, you're fine, Robbie. You might win something. Do you feel lucky? Oink Master Supreme is here. Hey, Oink Master, good to see you. Miss ya. I see you on other streams, and I feel very jealous. I love my wet, dry trickle stump. Louis Green, I love my wet, dry trickle sump. Now, when you put those kind of sumps on YouTube, people give you a little grief. Oh yeah, that doesn't work. This and that. You hear a lot of nonsense, but those trickle sumps work. I mean, I've used them in several applications, and they were sort of the benchmark for a while, and they actually do work. Paul Newman has a heavily stocked 75-gallon Mabuna tank, and he's got an FX4. This is a 75-gallon, and a Penguin Pro Marineland. Is that a Marineland? Penguin Pro. I'm assuming, does that operate like the Marineland, like the Emperors with a bio wheel? Now, see, if I had a heavily stocked 75, you know what I'd be doing, right? I'd have 2 canisters on that tank. I'd probably have 2 704Bs. You get into the concept, and of course you don't have this concept with sponge filters because they're just simply pulling in detritus and running bubbles up, right? But with canisters and sumps and things like that, you get into the concept of water turnover. And in a heavily stocked tank, I like to be close to 10 times water turnover. So per hour. So on a 200-gallon, I'd want to have 2,000 gallons per hour, turning over. How would you achieve that? Well, you'd probably have to achieve it with a couple FX6s, a sump, a couple pumps. I mean, on this one, I've got about 1,600 from a there's a Cichlid 9.0, 9.5. Which one is it? I don't know. Let's say 9.0. And then you've got the 704B. So close to 2,000, but you want that, to kind of be in that 5 to 10 time per hour turnover with a heavily stocked tank. A turnover is not, like I said, not an issue or not possible with sponges, but that's probably how I would do it. All right, let's see here. Oh boy. Michael forgot to open. Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, there you go. That's another issue that can occur. You remember to plug it in, but you forget to turn the valves, and now you have this water churning inside the canister and actually getting really warm. That water will get actually really hot from just running past the pump. That can create a whole other set of problems. Grow more veggies. Hey, Grow More Veggies. What a great name. I am growing more veggies. I've got all kinds of different salad stuff and peas and tomatoes and cucumbers, 2 kinds of tomatoes, all kinds of different lettuce. I am growing more veggies. But what a great name. Fly Guy, that's a fantastic idea. I'm going to try to consolidate more. Okay, so you're answering to Fly Guy. Yep, the one switch idea, great idea. I have power strips that have lots of plugs on them. And of course, they have one master switch, which can provide something similar. But very often, I don't want to turn everything off. I do let my pumps run or my canisters run as I'm doing water changes, and because I am stirring up a lot of detritus. So I do have some things that continue. I don't want to turn everything off during maintenance, but for some of us, that's a good idea. All right, let's see. Chef Steve, the more plants, the better. And that can be included in this conversation because plants are a form of filtration, right? Removing ammonia. Plants prefer ammonia to nitrate as a source of nutrition, right? As a source of nutrient. So they will remove your ammonia. And for those of you who have aquariums that are stocked with plant-destroying fish, you can always go with the pothos. You can always go with plants, in the hang-on back, in the sump. I haven't gone that route, but that is a very workable route. If you go, again, looking at Ohio Fish Rescue, he's got the biggest pothos I've ever seen. It's like, I don't know, 50 yards long, and is just simply he has this channel of water that runs all the way around one side of OFR, and it's one pothos that just goes the whole length of this river, right? So it's pretty interesting. Ex-colleague Kev, do you feel lucky, Punk? A Clint Eastwood fan like me. Hey, Discus North. Good to see you here, my friend. I have 6 or 7 different types of filters on my tanks. They all have advantages, so I use them all. And you, I have observed, think a lot like me in that area. Check out Discus North channel. It's got some beautiful discus. You kind of get the filter that's right for the job. In some cases, you overfilter. I've got a 20-gallon hospital tank with 2 small sponges and 2 small hang-on backs on it. That little 20-gallon is way overfiltered, but I use it as a hospital tank, so I want it super clean. So you use the filters that are right for you, but also right for the fish. For example, in a discus tank, you wouldn't use something that's blowing, several hundred gallons per hour power head type stream through the middle of the tank, because those big flat fish would be pushed around and exhausted. Whereas other fish might enjoy the stream, right? I have a very powerful Cichlid wave maker on the 300. I think it's 3,500 gallons per hour. I have it on a timer now. I was running it all the time, but it was just too much. I have it on a timer, and some of the fish will play in it. So I know that those bigger, stronger African cichlids don't mind it that much. Boy, my one of my African cichlids, it looks like he's in full breeding dress and he's chasing everybody around. It's kind of funny. I have a different tank boss like every week. Okay, let's see here. Now you see, Ron, that to me is I like that combination. A 75. He's got a Tidal 110. Great hang on back, and a canister. I'm not even sure you'd need that sponge. Now, one advantage of having that sponge in there is that if you were to need to start up a hospital tank right away, you could pull that sponge out, drop it into some conditioned water, and you'd have an instantly cycled, ready-to-go tank. But I wouldn't necessarily, just for aesthetic purposes, just for the look of it, wouldn't have that sponge in there, but that's just me. If it's working for you, leave it alone. But you do have the advantage of an instant hospital tank if you need it with that sponge in there. I have about a dozen Expertmatic internal filter sponges in the sump underneath this tank. There's a ton of sponges in there. All right, let's see here. I hear what you're saying, but I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, I want a t-shirt. Well, I have one in medium. A beautiful NorthFin medium t-shirt. And of course, every t-shirt's going to come with some food. So be sure to tell me what kind of fish you have if you are a winner. I'm going to write a number on a Post-it. You can see the Post-its don't have any numbers on them right now. I'm going to write a number on a Post-it. Be sure to start your answer with the letter M for medium. And the range is going to be between 1 and 30. Between 1 and 30. Start your answer with the letter M. Go. One and 30. Start your answer with the letter M. Whoa, hold on. We have a winner. You can stop now. I think we have a winner, assuming this is the first one and my old eyes aren't failing me. Let's see here. Let's see. It looks like MES. Yep, M13. M13. Send me an email, full name, full mailing address, include M13 on it. And be sure to tell me what kind of fish you have, and I'll include some NorthFin high-quality fish food for you. Very good. Congratulations. Somebody's asking me, did we have earthquake shaking? No, Oink Master. Was there a reported earth movement out in Middle Tennessee? I didn't feel anything. Now, I was running around a lot this morning to set up the live stream, so I might not have felt it. But I sure hope not. I mean, I used to live in earthquake country, and I'm hoping I got away from it. Yep, I've done that, Discus North. If the stream is too strong, point it to the back wall, and you'll get it dissipated. And depending how you point it, you might even get some surface tension breakup and create some oxygen. So yeah, that's a good way to do it. And I think I did see an internal filter in one of your tanks, and I might have asked you about that. That's probably what you were doing. You're probably hitting the back wall. They do turn over a lot of water. Luigi Green, the Penplax Cascade Max Flow is a beast, much larger than any other. I have not used Penplax products. I hear a variety of reports on them. But no, I haven't. I haven't used those. I'm not familiar with them. I've seen them around. Oink Master Supreme wants to know if there's a fish that I've had that I'll say never again. Eye biters are close, but I might try another one because out of maybe 5 or 6, I did have a couple that were mellow, or at least not too crazy. So I can't say I've written them off altogether. Certainly the dreaded Mabuna, the Oratus. I don't think I'll ever own an Oratus. Just an absolute demon of a fish that claims the entire aquarium as their territory and will tear up anybody else that's in there. So I'll never have an Oratus. I can say 100% I'll never own another Oratus. In the Vieja family, the Azul or the Zonatus, the Zonatus variety of Vieja, absolutely gorgeous fish. Blue with little patterns on it. A beautiful shade of blue, like a lighter blue. Just a complete jerk. Complete jerk. Don't think I'll have one of those again. But yeah, no, I would say without question the Oratus. I'll never have an Oratus. And for those of you on the stream who have owned an Oratus, you know what I'm talking about. Oh. I would say you were lucky indeed. Proverbs. Now, this is a strong case. This is a real strong case. This example here, this comment by Proverbs, is a real strong case for redundancy. And whatever tank you have, let's say you have a 10-gallon. It might sound stupid to have two small sponges or one small sponge and one of those little mini hang-on backs. Why? In case something like that. You forget to plug one in. There's a momentary power outage. Your mini hang-on back doesn't get going again. Right? And I mean, so to have two, I put a video out like 7 years ago, I don't know, 5 years ago, about how two's better than one. And, you know, borrowing from the airline industry, right, where you have everything doubled up in case something fails, from wing cables to, you know, everything's doubled up, right? So, because a failure is catastrophic. So you have, there's a reason why I run a canister with my sumps. People say, why do you have a canister on? Your sump can handle it. Why do you have a sump? Why didn't you just get another canister? Or just run one big canister? There's a reason why I tend to run in twos. My planted community tank only has one filter on it. I'm probably going to add a second hang-on back. My discus tank over my shoulder has two hang-on backs on it and UV. My smaller tanks, hospital and quarantine tanks, all have two in the event of a failure. So if you had forgotten to turn that on or turn the valves on or plug it back in and you had the other one going, you would have stayed in relative, not perfect shape, but relative good shape. But if you're running one filter, which I was running in California when I forgot to plug that FX6 in on that 100-gallon acrylic African cichlid peacock tank, that would have gotten real bad if I had waited just another day or two. It would have, for a variety of reasons. One of the reasons being that I was counting on the output of the FX6 to break up the surface and create oxygen. So again, if there had been an air stone in there, that would have made a difference. Almost all of my aquariums have lithium battery air stones. So in the event that I get one of those dreaded Middle Tennessee power outages, I have surface tension breakup. So multiple filters and battery-powered air stones. And then I have USB battery packs that I can bring into play. And when all that fails, I have a 12,000-watt propane-powered outside running generator with a 50-amp plug that I can plug into the house. So anyway, backups and redundancy. Can't say enough for that when it comes to filtration. But how many of us fish keepers, depending on how long you've been at it, we're in a way of doing things that is an accumulation of setbacks and failures. So when you have a setback or a failure as a fish keeper, you have a takeaway. And of course, when you're on YouTube like me and you live in a glass aquarium like I do, your takeaways are shared, but you learn and you accumulate and you take away and you learn, you accumulate and you take away. And the current state of affairs in your fish room is probably an accumulation of setbacks, die-offs, equipment failures, mistakes, and now you have all these sort of things set up. so that and hopefully, despite that, you still are enjoying the heck out of it. You're not in a state of anxiety or worry. You have maybe a few alarms set up. You have some safeguards. You have some master switches. You have some backups, some redundancy, some power backups, so that you can just sit and enjoy and not constantly be worried. All right, let's give away another t-shirt. What do you say? How about an extra large? For us bigger people out there, I have a very nice NorthFin extra large that will be shipped out with some food. Let me go ahead and write a number on a Post-it. Start your comment with XL and then your guess. All right, no peeking, no cheating. Okay, between 60 and 100, start your guess with XL. Between 60 and 100, go. Boy, some of you are real close. Real close. Up, 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 up. I think we have a winner. Yep, we got a winner. Okay. You can all stop now. We have a winner. Let's find him here. It was flying by. Let me go back up and find it. We have a winner. Did I read that right? XL82, Adam McReynolds. XL82, Adam McReynolds. Woohoo! Congratulations. Be sure to send me your full name and full mailing address to ben.o.cichlid at gmail.com. ben.o.cichlid at gmail.com. I will include some fish food, so be sure to tell me what kind of fish you have. I'll try and match it up with some food. All right. We have one more to give away. So hang in there. And if I've missed any super chats, those of you that are helping with postage, thank you. Thank you for those super chats. Mike Hunt says, my tanks are heavily aerated as well, and those are attached to my backup power system that runs the refrigerator, hot water heater, and the bubblers for my air tank. For my air tank, I have about 75 hours of backup, 72 hours of backup. Very nice. Very nice. Now, is that one of those outside units that kick on automatically if it detects a power outage? Like those Generac, or, I mean, there's some of those out there that will detect a power outage and kick on. And those I think are cool. Not cheap, but very, very cool. Yeah, Ronald, that's the type I'm talking about. You see them, peppered around the neighborhood where I live. People go ahead and buy that kind of a backup generator. I got a quote on one. It was over 10 grand, for installation and of course it's tied in. I think it's tied into your gas line, so that as long as you have gas, I mean, it'll just run on gas. I mean, I think every 6 months they have to come out and service it, but it's just kind of a install it and forget about it. I mean, it'll detect outages, and in some cases I've heard that it's kind of seamless. It just sort of takes over seamlessly, depending on the size of your unit. All right, let's see here. Discus North, I have a portable fireman gas generator. I need to service it, though. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that type of generator. Maybe that's a Canada brand? Ron says he's going to do most of the work himself, and then I mean, I imagine the unit is going to be very heavy, and to be placed on that concrete pad, you're going to need some kind of a hoisting system. I mean, that thing is a tank, right? Chef, are you in a rural? Are you in rural Australia, or are you like in the main? Are you in a main city? I mean, I didn't realize that you had these kind of power outages in Australia. I mean, I know you've got the quite a bit of rural open country and outback and what have you, but is that going on in the main cities? I know when I was back in California, we had these rolling brownouts, which is why when I'd hear talk about how they wanted to eliminate gas-powered cars and have everybody on electric cars, and we were already getting rolling blackouts and brownouts and what have you, it just didn't make sense to me. It's like the grid couldn't handle what was already going on, and they wanted to go to all electric. Can you imagine another million cars being plugged in a grid that was already going offline, like pretty frequently? It just didn't make sense to me, but anyway. Yeah, I get it, Mike. I get it. I mean, you look at folks, some of the reef keepers, and I mean, they'll have $10,000 in corals that they started with small frags, and now they're big, giant, beautiful corals. And it doesn't take that long of a power outage to kill them all off. So yeah, no, I get it. I get it. Okay, so you're in outer Melbourne. Okay, semi-bush. All right. Makes a little more sense. I mean, you'd think right in the heart of things, but ex-colleague, glad I left California. This channel is non-political, and it will remain non-political. Hey, what have I got here? I have got something special. He only sent me one. A triple XL. 3XL. For those of you out there who are on the bigger side, 3XL. Polo shirt. Very nice quality. Has some gray striping on the shoulder. An epaulette, whatever you call it. A nice striping on the shoulder. And of course, that will also include some NorthFin fish food. So let me come up with that. Let me come up with a number. No cheating. Close your eyes. Now this one, you've got to start with XXL and then give me your guess. And it has to be between between 60 and 100. Between 60 and 100. Start your comment with XXL. Go. Whip, is that your size? 3XL? Man, the numbers are flying by. We got a lot of good-sized folks watching this stream. No way. Oink Master Supreme XXL 70. You show up and you win something. Now, who are you going to give that to? I know you're not an XXL. I've met you. Oh, Oink Master Supreme XXL 70. I might have it somewhere, but send me the full name and mailing address and all that good stuff. Send me the type of fish you have, and I'm going to go ahead and send you out an XXL. You can give it to somebody or use it as pajamas. Oh, my goodness. Yep. Oink Master Supreme. You see? It's good you showed up. Whip Swirl. Herman Ed is a 3X. Okay, there you go. I get it. All right. Hey, a big shout out to Darius over in Canada with NorthFin. Great quality food. My fish love it. Here's a cichlid, one of his cichlid blends. And of course, you know, I mix a whole bunch of food together. But just to prove to you how much these fish love this food. Fortunately, they didn't splash. They didn't splash my computer. My fish love that food. All right. Well, it looks like it's we're half an hour into overtime. Usually, the Oscar will jump all the way to about 2/3 of his body will come out of the water, and he'll grab the food from my hand, and it's quite a sight. But they'll eat quite aggressively off the surface as it's going down, and then they'll graze for 15 minutes. So thank you, everybody, for showing up. Congratulations to all the winners. Be sure to send me your full name, mailing address, and the type of fish you have to ben.o.cichlid@gmail.com. And give me about a week and a half to get everything out. I've got a lot going on right now, but I will get it all mailed out. I did get an envelope, one or two envelopes back that needed more clarification on the address. I have contacted those folks, and I'm remailing out some food that was one before. But I think otherwise I'm caught up on mailing everything out. But it's going to take some packaging and a trip to my post office, which is about a half hour away. I am a little bit outside of the middle of Nashville. But yeah, give me a couple of weeks. I'll get it out to you. And then please, after you receive it, please send me an email letting me know that you did get it, and I can check you off on the list. But thank you to everybody for watching. I am going to be releasing a series of videos on the suggested or recommended filter combinations for each size of aquarium. So watch for those. Not sure when I'll have those out, but probably over the next week or two. And again, congratulations. Thank you to all my to my moderators. Thank you to my subscribers, and big shout out to Darius, and also to my Patreon monthly supporters. You rock. You are the best. And I think that's going to be it for me. Thank you, my friends. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you next week. We will have a live stream next week, 11 o'clock Central, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Thank you for tuning in. Love you guys and gals. You're the best. Bye-bye.